Today on the Blockchain Report, Bitcoin has crashed down to 105K, even as Jeff Bezos says millions of us will live in space by 2045, which is great news if your rent on Earth just went up again. And we're talking to Argentinian legend Carlos Maslot about why President Javier Milei loves liberty but keeps ghosting Bitcoin. And later, Mr. 10X himself, Grant Cardone, joins us to talk about how America needs to get its swagger back, because if confidence were currency, this country would already be great again. All that and more on today's show. Let's go! Good morning, my purveyors of digital sovereignty, and welcome back as we wrap up another week here on the Blockchain Report. I'm Hank Hudson, coming to you live from the digital heartbeat of the world, San Francisco, California. Good Lord Satoshi, it is Friday, the day your boss pretends to care about productivity while sneaking out early for a business meeting at the first tee. Now, before we dive headfirst in today's tidal wave of market mayhem, political theater, and billionaires posting like their social media accounts are cry for help art installations, go ahead, do the thing, smash the subscribe button, and don't forget to follow RoxomTV, the Blockchain Report, and me at Hank at RoxomTV, because if your long-term investment strategy still involves waiting for Dogecoin to hit $10, well, congratulations, you've arrived at your intervention. All right, let's fire up this morning's market rundown and see who's pumping, who's currently dumping, and who's ready to explain to their spouse why they totally meant to buy the dip. Let's check it out. All right, this morning, well, Friday has not brought us the best of tidings just yet, but the day is young. Currently, Bitcoin is down about 4% in the last 24 hours, down to that 105K mark. It looks like we have seen some buying pressure around that 102, 103 area that we did see us go down to this morning, but things have popped back up to around 105, so we'll see what that bears in terms of what we'll be expecting this weekend in the market. And also, I want to help us kind of take a look under the hood a little bit and see what's going on, because let's be real here, gang, the numbers don't lie, but traders definitely do. So I've pulled up a few of the key on-chain charts that give us the real story behind Bitcoin's current price, not the headlines, not hopium, just the data. Now, these are the same tools analysts used to spot where we are in the cycle. So whether we're heating up, cooling down, or just catching our breath before the next leg higher. So let's break them down one by one and translate all this crypto hieroglyphics into plain English. So we're bringing up our first chart here, and this here is the Bitcoin forecast tool, okay? What this does is this tracks Bitcoin's entire life story. We're talking about from its diaper days back in 2011 to the fine wine era that we're living in now. Now, these colored bands that you can see on the screen here, we got orange, we got green, the screen, there we go. We have the orange one, we got the green one, and the red one. These are basically the market's emotional support systems, okay? The green line is Bitcoin's floor price. Think of it as like the I'm not selling under this or my wife leaves me level, okay? The orange line you'll see there is your fair value baseline, where Bitcoin tends to chill when things are feeling stable. Now, the red line at the top, that's where every bull run has historically lost its mind. The quit your job and buy a Lambo zone. It's my favorite zone. Now, right now, Bitcoin's below that red line, as you can see, meaning we are not in mania yet. Historically, every cycle has tapped that red band before things eventually cooled off. So we're either mid to late cycle, or this bull run is just getting warmed up. Now we're going to bring up our second chart here, okay? This one is huge. This is the short-term holder cost basis chart, or as I call it, the are we bullish or screwed line. It shows the average buy price of people who've gotten in over the last 5 months. If Bitcoin's above that line, short-term holders are in profit, vibes are good, and everyone's a genius. If Bitcoin drops below it, people start panic selling and writing emotional medium posts about market manipulation. Right now, that magic number is 113K. And we've been rejected there. You can see it right there, 113.6. That is not good. It means right now short-term holders are underwater and the bears have control. For now. Now, if we were to reclaim that level and turn it into support, it's game on again for our bulls out there. Until then, though, any bounce under 113K is probably just hopium at this point. And that brings us to chart number 3. Okay, this one's called the everything indicator because it takes, you guessed it, everything into account. It mixes on-chain metrics like how profitable people are and how much new money is flowing into the market and whether everyone's losing their minds yet. The orange line you can see here is basically Bitcoin's emotional roller coaster, okay? Fear and apathy near the bottom, greed and euphoria up here near the top. What we're seeing right now is calmer, more mature market right here, okay? The highs aren't as crazy and the lows aren't as catastrophic, which either means Bitcoin's growing up or it's just too tired to care at this moment. We're currently sitting in the middle zone here, okay? Not euphoric, not depressed, which historically means there's still room to run before we hit a full-blown top of cycle insanity. My favorite kind of insanity. So Hank, what's the big takeaway we're seeing here from Friday's charts? Well, short-term, Bitcoin is cooling off. The bulls lost control after getting rejected at that 113K level. But long-term, every major metric still shows we've got gas left in the tank. We're not in mania mode yet, and the long-term trend is still intact. So for those of you freaking out there, zoom out, breathe, and remember, this isn't a crash. It's Bitcoin doing its best impression of emotional stability. All right, so we're going to take a quick break, but when we're back, we're getting started in this morning's bull run with our top stories of the day. So stay tuned for that and much more coming up on today's episode of the Blockchain Report. We'll be right back.
Security matters. Zappo Bank. The only way to bank your Bitcoin. Apply now at zappobank.com.
All right, welcome back and good morning. It's time for today's bull run. This is the part of the show where we go over the top news of the day so that you don't have to. We do it for you. So nice of us, right? It is. All right, let's get into it. First up, Jack Dorsey's out here trying to turn your private messages into private transactions because nothing says end-to-end encryption like sending your sats with your sexts. Several Bitcoiners, including Jack Dorsey himself, are rallying behind a new campaign called Bitcoin for Signal. The plan? Integrate Bitcoin into the privacy app using the Cashew protocol, which sounds like a Japanese dessert, but is actually an e-cash system that lets you send Bitcoin anonymously inside of Signal. Dorsey tweeted, @Signal app should use Bitcoin, because apparently talking about Bitcoin is his resting state. Peter Todd joined in on the fun, dunking on Signal's existing crypto option, Memecoin, which, fun fact, is so centralized it makes the Federal Reserve look decentralized. He said he tried to buy some but couldn't, or in other words, even the devs can't find the buy button. Signal added Memecoin back in 2021 and it's been collecting dust ever since. Kind of like that one NFT you bought and never told anyone about because you are ashamed and embarrassed about it, as you should be. We all are. I'm guilty of it too. Now, with that being said, other Bitcoin legends like Kali and Pavel Rusnak jumped on in, pushing to replace Signal's glorified Chuck E. Cheese token with the real digital cash. Now, if it actually happens, Signal's 70 million users could start zapping each other Bitcoin directly, which would make it the largest peer-to-peer payment app on the planet that isn't stealing your data to sell toothpaste ads. Of course, critics crawled out to remind everyone that Bitcoin isn't private enough for a privacy app. Aztec Network's Jose Pedro Sousa asked why you'd use a fully public blockchain for private chats. Which is fair, but it's 2025 and privacy's already on hospice care. Let's be real. Now, Techlore said it hurt Signal's credibility, while others suggested using Monero or Zcash because nothing screams trustworthy like currencies mostly used for buying LSD and fake passports. And if you're wondering why all of this matters now, well, Europe almost banned private messaging entirely this week with a law called chat control. That would have forced apps like Signal to hand over your DMs to the government in the name of safety. Germany said 9 to that idea, calling it unconstitutional. The vote got delayed, which means for now, you can still send memes in peace. But the writing's on the wall. Privacy is dying, and Bitcoin might be its last line of defense, or at least a fun way to tip your dealer. And Florida's lawmakers, they looked at their pension fund, saw the inflation chart, and said, screw it, let's buy Bitcoin now. House Bill 183 would let the state invest up to 10% of public funds, including pensions, into Bitcoin, tokenized securities, NFTs, or whatever digital assets the CFO can spell. That's right, grandma's retirement check might be riding the next bull run. The bill says that these investments can go through qualified custodians or SEC-registered ETFs, meaning that Florida is trying to make degen behavior sound like fiscal policy. The move mirrors other state bills from Texas, Arizona, New Hampshire, which all decided golds for boomers and bitcoins for governors who want a CNBC hit. Julian Farrer from Bitcoin Laws said over 50 states tried to start Bitcoin reserves this year because apparently sound money is the new states' rights. The federal government technically already has a strategic Bitcoin reserve, which sounds badass until you find out it's just seized coins from criminals, which actually might make it more badass, in fact. Still, Florida's full send on this makes sense. It's the land of no state income tax, endless hurricanes, and now potentially a $1 billion Bitcoin treasury. Now, if the bill passes, Floridians could even pay certain taxes in Bitcoin or other crypto. The state will convert it to dollars automatically because nothing says digital revolution quite like a government middleman immediately turning your Bitcoin back into fiat. Critics say that it's risky, that Bitcoin's too volatile for public money, but when the alternative is trusting Washington with your retirement, volatility suddenly sounds kind of nice. The bill still has to pass through committees and the governor's desk, and if it does, Florida will officially be the first state in America to hodl on behalf of its taxpayers. And honestly, that might make it the only government actually thinking long term. And Newsmax is buying crypto, and yes, it includes Trump coin, because when it comes to politics and blockchain, subtlety is dead. The network announced it's creating a $5 million crypto reserve made up of Bitcoin and Trump coin, officially making them the first New York Stock Exchange listed company to hold a meme token dedicated to a former current president. CEO Christopher Ruddy says that Trump coin's value reflects the success of the Trump presidency, which explains why it's probably volatile as hell. They plan to start buying in the near future, depending on market conditions, or in other words, whenever Bitcoin stops dumping. Ruddy said it's about diversifying assets and showing confidence in digital currencies tied to cultural and political movements. Translation, it's a PR stunt with an upside. Bitcoin's been ripping this year as inflation chills out and regulators finally stop acting like they've never used the internet before. Trump coin, on the other hand, is basically Dogecoin in a red tie, part meme, part movement, all marketing. Analysts say that this move is either genius brand synergy or a financial self-own waiting to happen. But for Newsmax, it's pretty on brand, merging political loyalty with speculative investing. Now, if the coin's moon, they'll call it prophetic. If it crashes, they'll call it fake news. Either way, it's another sign of how crypto has fully merged with culture wars, media spin, and whatever the hell late-stage capitalism is supposed to be. And Bitcoin's Uptober turned into no-tober, and now the market's betting on whether we finish the month under 100K or under sedation. Polymarket traders are giving Bitcoin a 34% chance of ending October below $100,000 and less than 10% odds of it climbing above $130,000. That's right, optimism has officially left the chat. Bitcoin dumped from 121 to 102K last Friday after Donald Trump announced 100% tariffs on Chinese goods, because apparently global trade policy is now the new meme coin rug pull. Over $19 billion in crypto futures were liquidated during the crash, while one whale reportedly made $192 million shorting Bitcoin right before the drop. So somebody's yacht just got a little bit longer. Not suspicious at all. Nothing to see here. Now, the beloved Uptober rally started strong, fueled by FOMO and the usual "this time is different" energy. Then Friday hit. Trump opened Twitter for boomers, yelled at Xi Jinping, and the entire market imploded faster than an altcoin after a Binance delisting. Meanwhile, gold broke $4,300, up 17% in a month, while Bitcoin fell 8%. Sean Farrell from Fundstrat said that capital is favoring gold's momentum and lower volatility profile. Or in other words, everyone's temporarily choosing shiny rocks over digital ones. He also pointed out that central banks keep buying gold, which gives it a backstop Bitcoin doesn't have. And honestly, when the world's most indebted institutions are hoarding something, it's usually a sign that you should do the opposite. Ed Yardeni, a longtime Wall Street strategist, said the crash was worsened by a drying up of liquidity and $19 billion in liquidations across leveraged positions. Or in plain English, everyone leveraged themselves into oblivion and got margin called into next week. The whale that shorted $192 million before the crash doubled down Sunday with another bearish bet, clearly committed to being the main villain in Bitcoin's October chart. Now, despite all of this, analysts are still holding their pom-poms. JPMorgan says Bitcoin's going to 165K by year's end. Citi says 133K this year and 181K by 2026. Gold, on the other hand, will hit $4,379, a new all-time high, before settling around that $4,350 range. Year to date, gold's up over 50%, Bitcoin's up 20%. And that's how you know we're living in a simulation, because somehow gold is outperforming Bitcoin in the year 2025. Yardeni even called gold the new Bitcoin, saying it's the better safe haven and predicting it'll hit 5,000 by next year and 10,000 before the decade ends. HSBC jumped on the bandwagon, raising the gold price targets to an average of $3,355 this year and $3,950 next year, citing central bank demand and macro uncertainty. Basically, the bankers who wrecked the money printer are now panic buying jewelry metal. But here's the real kicker. The U.S.-China trade war is heating up again, and if the fight over critical minerals turns into a full-blown tariff brawl by November 1st, expect more pain across all markets, crypto included. The difference is, though, gold has central bank sugar daddies propping it up. Bitcoin, it doesn't. It just has us, the sleep-deprived, laser-eyed psychos who call this chaos the dip. So yeah, Polymarket might think Bitcoin ends October below 100K, but history says those are the exact odds you want to bet against. Because when everyone else is shorting Bitcoin, that's usually when it starts writing their obituaries. And Jeff Bezos, well, he looked at planet Earth and said, you know what this place needs? Less people. In Italian Tech Week, Bezos told the crowd that the next 20 years will be a golden age of civilization where humanity is richer, happier, and apparently living off planet. He said, I don't see how anybody can be discouraged who's alive right now, which is an adorable thing to say when your net worth is $239 billion and your private rockets literally shoot for the stars. By 2045, Bezos predicts millions of humans will live in space while robots handle the boring stuff like commuting, office work, and probably moderating the comments under this very video. He insists that people will move to space because they want to, not because Earth's on fire or Miami's underwater. Bezos says that AI and robotics will do all the heavy lifting, lunar construction, asteroid mining, maybe even packing your Prime boxes on Mars. He called it civilizational abundance, comparing it to when someone invented the plow 10,000 years ago and suddenly everyone got rich. Which, sure, Jeff, tell that to the guy milking goats in 5000 BC. While Elon Musk races him to Mars, Bezos is pitching a more chill version of space, one where machines work, humans vibe, and billionaires build orbital condos. He brushed off the usual AI doomsday talk, saying inventions always make life better, because when your invention list includes the online bookstore that ate the planet, optimism comes easy. Bill Gates, meanwhile, is still on Team Earth. He says we should fix this planet before colonizing another, which is fair. But even Gates admits AI might soon make the 2-day work week a reality. So to recap, Bezos wants us living in space, Musk's already packing, and Gates wants everyone to just calm down. At this rate, 2045, we'll all be unemployed, rich, and working remotely from the moon. We're taking a quick break, but when we're back, we got more bull run coming up. And don't forget today, we got two special guests. We'll be joined in just a bit by Carlos Mazlatin as we break down why Javier Milei keeps ignoring Bitcoin. And our extra special guest today, we got Grant Cardone joining us to talk shop and how we can make America officially great again. All that and more coming back right after this message. We'll see you then. All right, welcome back. It's time for more of this morning's bull run. Let's get back into it here. Next up, we got Paxos, that's PayPal's blockchain partner, accidentally minted $300 trillion in stablecoins this week, as in, more money that exists on the planet Earth. They called it a technical error, which is corporate speak for Todd pressed the wrong button. According to Etherscan, the Ethereum network suddenly showed an avalanche of PayPal's PYUSD stablecoin before Paxos realized they'd essentially recreated the Federal Reserve's balance sheet. The company said that it identified the issue and burned the excess PYUSD within 20 minutes, which is impressive speed for undoing a mistake worth twice the world's GDP. Paxos posted that it was an internal technical error, no security breach, customer funds are safe. Or in other words, don't panic, we didn't mean to accidentally replace the US dollar. The coins were supposedly created during an internal transfer, and yes, there aren't enough actual dollars in circulation to back $300 trillion worth of stablecoins. But don't worry, PayPal promises the peg is guaranteed. Totally reassuring. PYUSD is pegged 1-to-1 to the dollar and backed by deposits and treasuries, giving it a current market cap of $2.6 billion, so only off by about, $299,997,400,000,000. Mistakes like this highlight how stablecoin issuers can literally print or delete billions in seconds. Unlike Bitcoin, where if you screw up, you just cry and move on. Centralized tokens come with a handy oops button. It's not even the first time that this has happened. Back in 2019, Tether accidentally minted $5 billion in USDT and had to burn it immediately, which makes Paxos' $300 trillion slip up look like a sequel that no one asked for. Oops, we did it again. So yeah, next time someone says crypto isn't real money, remind them it's so real we occasionally conjure up $300 trillion before lunch. And in a small town in the state of Kansas, residents are learning what proof of work really means. It's the constant hum of industrial Bitcoin miners right outside your window. Locals say the noise from a nearby mining facility has turned rural peace into a nonstop jet engine lullaby. One homeowner said, "You can hear it over the TV, over the fan, over your will to live." Another said the noise is pushing wildlife out of the area, saying, "We used to have deer in our yard, now we just have migraines." The facility runs 4 shipping containers full of machines solving math problems around the clock, powered by a natural gas generator. That's 80 decibels of sound, roughly the volume of a leaf blower, that never, ever takes a lunch break. Now, all the complaints from neighbors led to local leaders to vote for a moratorium on expansion, meaning no new mining rigs until someone figures out how to mine Bitcoin quietly. It's a story as old as America. City guys show up promising prosperity, locals get a headache, and everyone learns that decentralization sounds great until it's happening next door. And in Washington, D.C., we just witnessed something truly historic. No, not bipartisan cooperation. Something even rarer than that. A guy bought coffee with Bitcoin. Compass Coffee, it's a chain with 27 locations, became the first business in the world to accept Bitcoin through a Square terminal. Yeah, that little white box you use to pay for cupcakes and guilt tips. Square's new Bitcoin payments integration lets merchants accept BTC, auto-convert a portion to dollars, or keep it as Bitcoin, all from the same dashboard they already use to sell your oat milk lattes. Even better, there are no processing fees for Bitcoin payments during the first year, which means, for once, small businesses get to keep the savings, not Visa. Now, Miles Suter, head of Bitcoin at Block, said the goal is to make Bitcoin everyday money. And if that happens, your morning caffeine fix could become the quiet start of hyper Bitcoinization, one cappuccino at a time. And Jamie Dimon, he has entered his "it's not crypto, I swear" era. After years of calling Bitcoin a pet rock for criminals, the JPMorgan CEO now says he actually likes blockchain as long as he's controlling it. Diamond says that blockchain is real, which is CEO code for we finally found a way to profit off of it without admitting Bitcoin was right the whole time. He praised stablecoins and JP Morgan's own deposit token, a private, permissioned blockchain that works great because it's basically a database with better PR. Diamond said that blockchain will replace clunky systems like short-term loans and intraday repo settlements. Then he immediately backpedaled, saying it's not a cure-all and sometimes a solution looking for a problem. Or in other words, he wants the efficiency of blockchain's tech minus the part where anyone else gets to actually use it. And when someone dared mention Bitcoin, he dodged like a politician before earnings season, joking that if he comments, he'll get death threats and shit like that. His words, which to be fair might happen, but mostly from investors who watched him call it a scam at 3,000 and are watching it flirt with 105K currently. Now, JP Morgan now runs its own private blockchain, Connexus, to move client funds faster. So the man who once said he'd fire employees for trading Bitcoin now uses Bitcoin's invention every day, just, behind a velvet rope. And Robert Kiyosaki, you know him. He's the rich dad, poor dad guy who made a career telling people not to be poor, is back with another cheerful forecast. The biggest crash in the world in history is coming this year. Also, his advice, buy gold, silver, Bitcoin, Ethereum, oil, cattle, and probably a bunker. In a series of posts on X, Kiyosaki warned that inflation and fiat are about to vaporize everyone's retirement accounts and that baby boomers will be homeless or living in their kids' basements, which, depending on your family dynamic, might be the real apocalypse. He claims this collapse will make 2008 look like a Black Friday sale, but don't worry, he's buying the dip in everything that can't be printed. That includes Bitcoin and Ethereum, which he now calls stores of value with industrial use. Which is ironic because the last time boomers were this into Ethereum, it was by accident while clicking phishing links. Kiyosaki even praised Trump for letting 401ks include alternative investments like Bitcoin, gold, and real estate, which is a polite way of saying you might lose your retirement, but at least now you can gamble it. We're taking a quick break, but when we're back, we're returning to see what our robot overlords are up to and some AI, AIO, so stay tuned for that. And we have our two big interviews coming up today as we'll be chatting with Carlos Maslatin about what's going on in Argentina and why Javier Milei keeps turning a blind eye to Bitcoin. And Mr. 10X himself, Grant Cardone, will be joining us for an exclusive interview with some games we'll be playing with him that you are not going to want to miss. All that and more coming up on the Blockchain Report when we're back after this quick break.
It runs on Bitcoin. Introducing Roxom, the first ever exchange where Bitcoiners can trade treasury stocks entirely in BTC. Get exposure to top Bitcoin holding companies like MicroStrategy and Metaplanet, priced in Bitcoin from the start. No fiat, no middlemen. This is what financial freedom looks like. Early access now live at Roxom.com/treasuries. Built by Bitcoiners for Bitcoiners.
All right, welcome back. It's time for a little AI, AIO and see what our robot friends are up to, because let's be real, it's their world now. They're just letting us live in it. And do you remember when social media was about posting pictures of your lunch? Well, now it's about deep-faking yourself into a Marvel movie. Upgrade, I guess. Meet Sora AI, the new IT app so hot that people are buying invites on eBay because apparently waiting lists are for peasants. Sora is OpenAI's new text-to-video playground that lets users scan their face and voice, type a prompt, and instantly generate ultra-realistic clips starring, well, themselves. You can appear giving a TED Talk, teaching a class, or DJing for a stadium full of imaginary fans, all without leaving your couch or your crippling sense of imposter syndrome. There's even a TikTok-style feed where users post, remix, and share these AI creations, turning Sora into what some are calling the first truly AI-native social network. And of course, there's already a daily limit of 30 videos because OpenAI knows humans will absolutely deepfake themselves into oblivion if left unchecked. Big names are already there. Sam Altman has nearly 50,000 followers. Jake Paul's got 11,000, and the algorithm's feeding users endless versions of whatever nonsense that they create. Like one reporter whose feed devolved into a dachshund dance party. But here's where it gets a little wild. Users can friend each other and even borrow one another's likeness or voice if granted permission. So if your buddy says yes, you can cast them as your co-star, your villain, or your awkward prom date in full HD resolution. Demand is so high that people are reselling invites for under $50 on eBay because nothing says cutting-edge future tech like a PayPal checkout from 2005. Investors are drooling. One tech insider said the fact that OpenAI could spin a full social network out of its text-to-video feature in weeks proves their $500 billion valuation might actually be low. So yeah, TikTok walked, Sora flies, literally, and apparently with dachshunds. And artificial intelligence has apparently entered its Switzerland phase. OpenAI says its new GPT-5 models, Instant and Thinking, are now 30% less politically biased than the previous generation. The company released an internal report showing it tested 500 political and cultural questions across 5 ideological perspectives, from conservative to liberal, and scored model responses for neutrality. The result? ChatGPT is now about as centrist as a tax accountant on decaf. OpenAI built an automated system that measures bias through 5 axes: how it validates users, mirrors tone, expresses political opinions, covers both sides, and avoids unnecessary refusals. Basically, the AI version of media trading, if you will. They even claim that less than 0.01% of real-world responses show political bias, which is either impressive or exactly what a biased AI would say. This bias detox comes after years of accusations that AI chatbots lean left, censor viewpoints, or act like snarky hall monitors. Now, OpenAI is promising objectivity, transparency, and shared standards. Of course, the company testing its own objectivity is kind of like grading your own driving test. Still, it's a step in the right direction, I think, because if AI is going to help run civilization, it should at least learn not to subtweet humans. Now, the big takeaway here? Bitcoin fixes monetary bias, and maybe GPT-5 fixes political bias. If both keep improving, there might still be hope for civilization after all, or at least for Twitter comment sections. And Walmart is teaming up with OpenAI to let customers shop through ChatGPT. Oh boy, because apparently scrolling a website was too hard, and now you can ask a robot to buy your bananas for you. The integration lets users plan, predict, and complete Walmart and Sam's Club's purchases directly within ChatGPT. It'll even learn your shopping patterns, which means it'll know you're about to run out of paper towels before you do. Walmart already uses an AI shopping agent called Sparky, and this new partnership takes it global, tying into a chatbot with 700 million weekly users. CEO Doug McMillon said, "There's a native AI experience coming that's multimedia, personalized, and contextual." Translation: Sparky's getting a little nosy. Customers can now use instant checkout inside ChatGPT to finalize purchases, and Walmart says AI will eventually anticipate their needs. In other words, your shopping assistant may soon judge you for buying microwave burritos at midnight. OpenAI CEO Sam Altman calls it a way to make purchases or everyday purchases simpler. Sure, but it's also another sign that AI is taking over retail faster than cashiers can ask you if you found everything you needed today. Walmart says AI is already helping employees translate languages, find inventory, and manage tasks. And stockholders are thrilled. The retailer's up 20% this year, outpacing Target, Kroger, and even Amazon. And if you needed proof AI is changing commerce, well, this is it. And if Walmart ever lets you pay in Bitcoin through ChatGPT, that'll be the moment the future finally gets a rollback. Man, and OpenAI is really in the news today because they're about to make ChatGPT, aside from a little less bias, a little more grown up. Starting in December, verified adult users will be able to access mature content, including erotica. Yes, Oh, I mean, according to Sam Altman, the CEO. He announced the change on X, saying the company's new philosophy is to treat adult users like adults, which is corporate speak for we're done pretending everyone's here for spreadsheets and recipes. Altman said that ChatGPT had previously been made pretty restrictive to protect users struggling with mental health, but he admitted that that made the bot less useful and less enjoyable for the rest of the population. Or in other words, too many people were getting friend-zoned by their very own chatbot. Now, with the new safety systems in place, OpenAI says it can safely loosen the guardrails. Verified users will soon be able to customize ChatGPT's tone, personality, and style, even asking it to act more human, use emojis, or behave like a digital friend. In short, ChatGPT is about to become the most emotionally available partner in your contact list. The update coincides with Meta's rollout of new teen content filters modeled after movie ratings, a move that suggests that tech companies are finally realizing the internet might need a PG-13 button. Still, OpenAI's shift signals a broader trend. Artificial intelligence is no longer just a productivity tool, it's becoming personal. For better or worse, people want AI that feels human, but if it even sometimes it blushes. So starting this winter, ChatGPT will officially join the adults table. And let's just say, depending on how creative users get, things could get very weird very fast. And I'm totally here for it. Thank you, Chat. I've been waiting for that update forever now. And cyber criminals have officially gone corporate? Yeah, according to new reports, scammers are now impersonating your very coworkers, hijacking real email threads and inserting themselves into conversations to steal data or drop malware. That's right. Your boss asking for a quick favor might actually be a guy in Belarus with ChatGPT open and just another tab. Now, these new phishing campaigns are terrifyingly convincing. Attackers clone company email addresses, reply within existing threads, attach infected files that look legit, all powered by AI text that's spell-checked, grammar-checked, and scam-checked. The result? Even experienced professionals are falling for emails that read like your average corporate memo, soulless, polite, and vaguely threatening. Experts say some of these attacks are so advanced they can harvest ongoing conversations and reinsert fake replies mid-thread, basically gaslighting your inbox. Now, victims who open attachments risk installing spyware or ransomware, and once credentials are stolen, hackers can silently sit in your email for weeks collecting intel. Great. Now, what's the best defense for this? Two-factor authentication, password managers, and a healthy dose of paranoia. If your IT department emails you about an urgent security update, call them first. And if your coworker suddenly uses perfect grammar, maybe question that too. The lesson here is trust the blockchain, not your inbox. All right, we're taking a quick break, but when we're back, we're going to be talking with the Argentinian living legend himself, Carlos Meslatan, as we discuss why President Javier Milei won't give Bitcoin the time of day. And coming up in about, it's like 30 minutes, we got living legend number 2, Grant Cardone, coming to chat with us about how we can 10x America. So you're going to want to stay tuned for that. All coming up on the Blockchain Report when we return right after this break. All right, welcome back. It's time for some Blockchain Without Borders. So let's see what's going on in other parts of the world. Today we're going to be covering Argentina, the UK, but first we're starting in Kenya, which just did what half of the developed world can't seemingly figure out as they passed a bill officially regulating Bitcoin and crypto. The law gives Kenya's central bank control over licensing, stablecoins, and crypto issuers, and Capital Markets Authority will handle exchanges and trading platforms. Basically, they made a playbook while everyone else is still arguing about what page to start on. The goal here? Encourage innovation, attract foreign investment, and include more people in the financial system. Because in Kenya, crypto isn't a Silicon Valley side hustle, it's how people actually move their money. The country's already a leader in mobile payments, and now they're building the next layer on top, this time with Bitcoin and digital assets. Now, over across the pond in the UK, the government just pulled off the greatest rug pull in all history, and it's completely legal, I think. They seized 61,000 Bitcoin from a Chinese fraudster who ran a $6 billion scam, fled to London under a fake name, and apparently thought hiding a hardware wallet in her sweatpants was peak operational security. When police found the stash in 2018, it was worth about $1.8 billion. Now, it's worth a cool $7.2 billion, meaning the British government accidentally became one of the biggest Bitcoin whales in the world. And here's where things get a little spicy. They're setting up a victim compensation scheme, but keeping most of the money themselves. So yeah, the victims get adequate protection, while the Treasury gets a new side hustle. Now, officials claim it's hard to match specific victims to specific coins, which is bureaucratic speak for, hey, we lost the receipts. And over in Argentina, inflation, as you might know, is higher than most people's credit scores, but President Javier Milei still hasn't made Bitcoin part of his plan, which is pretty wild because the guy literally campaigned on torching the central bank. Now, according to Argentine Bitcoin legends Carlos Maslany and Ramiro, Milei just doesn't get it. They say that he listens, he nods, but the lights aren't on and nobody's running the lightning node. He's deregulated a bunch of stuff, fired some bureaucrats, and made the peso slightly less of a dumpster fire. But crypto, not even on his to-do list. His only cabinet member who understood Bitcoin was fired just last year. She was the one who clarified that contracts in Argentina could legally be written in Bitcoin, which was the most bullish thing the government had ever done, and then they fired her for it. Now, the administration has zero crypto experts. Carlos Maslany says the entire government is full of people who don't understand the topic, which, to be fair, is also true of every government everywhere. Speaking of Maslany, we have him joining us on the show today to tell us more about Bitcoin in Argentina. So let's head to the desk and bring him on in, guys. And here to give us more insights on this story, we have the living legend himself, Carlos Maslany. Carlos, how are you? Thanks for joining us on the Blockchain Report today. It's always a pleasure.
Hello, Hank. Hello, everyone. Thank you for calling.
Pleasure is ours. And Carlos, I want to get right into the thick of it. You've said that Milei just doesn't get Bitcoin. What exactly do you mean by that? Is it a lack of understanding, a lack of conviction, or political self-preservation?
Yes, yes. What happened is 2 days ago, there was a press conference organized by the next summit that will take place in Buenos Aires in about a month, called La BitConf. That is probably the most important Bitcoin summit in South America. Many people attending from all over the world, and also, of course, from South America. And in the press conference to which I was invited, I was requested my opinion regarding Bitcoin and Milei, or crypto and Milei. And I told to the journalists that attended the conference that I know Milei, and I have been speaking with him during 2013, 2014, 2015 about Bitcoin. He, as an orthodox libertarian with formation, with knowledge of the Austrian School of Economics, I told him in more than 10 years ago, Milei, for the first time in the history, what we have been waiting, that is the creation of a currency not related to government, not related to any central bank, not a fiat currency in the traditional sense. It has been created, not now, but 5 years ago. Remember, we have been in 2014, for instance. I explained him many times that the key factor of BTC is the limitation in the creation of coins. I explained him the fact of the 21 million, the way the coins were to be mint. But my sense in those days was that he really didn't understand that. Why? Why? Probably because he has been too much involved in the reality that the money has to be from a government source. Although he's a libertarian and he believes theoretically in free markets, it is like it was so so his traditional formation is so it was so and is so important that he even cannot think in a private currency. He even cannot think in a currency that is not related to a central bank, in a currency that has not any monetary policy, because there is no monetary policy for BTC. And there are no secondary market. There is not any kind of secondary creation of money in the case of BTC. Take the case of US dollars. In the US, you have a circulation of 2.4 trillions of dollars, but besides that, you have deposits of several kinds, like current account, CDs, and many derivatives as a consequence of the circulation of money between the banks, because the banks really create secondary money. And Milei, is too much used to these categories of money. And that is, he didn't understand why there are not secondary sources of money in the case of BTC. I explained him this is like a prehistoric currency, but in a good sense, because this limits the offer. In those days, in 2014, for example, the price of BTC was $350. Remember, Hank, $350 by mid 2014. Now we are more than $100,000 is the current price of BTC, and along the years, suddenly he was interested in some sort of cryptos. That is why in 2021, perhaps not wanted too much to think about BTC, that he rejected, as I told you, in year 2014, he was thinking like in creating a new currency. Probably this is the psychological reason for which he was involved 10 months ago in the so-called Libra scam. And before the Libra scam, he has been involved promoting several kinds of Ponzi crypto scams. I remember in year 2022, he sold his home in Instagram to a crypto scam. Instead of saying, I am Milei, an economist from the Republic of Argentina seeking to be the president of the country, he sold that space to a crypto scam. And if you join his Instagram account, you would not see any description about him, but a propaganda, a fraudulent propaganda regarding a crypto scam. Besides that, another thing that I want to explain to you now is that the Central Bank of the Republic of Argentina is not allowing these days the banks to let the clients of the financial system in Argentina to buy and sell crypto. So you cannot process in our system of banking accounts any transaction related to crypto or to BTC. 2 years ago, there was an experiment allowing some banks to trade BTC on behalf of their client. That is via the app, via the typical home banking, via an app. 2 or 3 banks tried to offer this service to several clients, but this lasts only for 3 days. The central bank decided to forbid this. This is not allowed. And the present government, the central bank administration of Milei, is not allowing anymore to do this kind of transactions. Hank, suppose I am wrong. I am speaking now to Mr. Milei. Milei, if I am wrong, if you are pro BTC, so call now to your central bank, because as you know, Hank, the central bank in Argentina is not an independent entity as it is in the US regarding the Fed. So, right. Milei, call your central bank, call to Mr. Bausili, that, by the way, he has been, Bausili, that is the chief of the central bank in Argentina, has been 2 days ago in Washington, D.C. with the Minister of the Economy of Argentina and with President Trump. Milei, Trump, Caputo, and Bausili. Tell Bausili to allow the banks to trade BTC and to offer these services to the clients of every bank. This is not allowed at the current moment. So it's very easy. This is my message. And this has been my message 2 days ago in the conference given before the LaBitConf, that is the conference that will take place in about a month here in Buenos Aires, Argentina. This is like a brief description about the situation. It's not a bad message from me. It's a message with hope. I hope the government will reconsider this policy and change it at all. It is the time to allow the normal people in Argentina, not the people that has been dealing with BTC since the very beginning, that as you know, we have many millions in Argentina, but the normal people. Why don't let the people in Argentina to buy and sell BTC online, making the fiat settlement through the banks of Argentina? And that's all, my friend.
Breaking that down for us, Carlos. One of the real confusing or kind of confounding things about this situation seems to be, when Milei campaigned, he was basically the poster child for Austrian economics, right? So why do you think he stopped short of actually implementing the ultimate Austrian solution, Bitcoin?
There are two. I can give you two answers to that. First of all, because maybe he's not a financial market advocate, he's not a free market advocate. In practical terms, one thing is that all what he declared before being the president, and another thing is what he's really doing being the president of Argentina. We don't have a free market exchange for currencies in Argentina. And the government is all the time manipulating the currency exchange between peso, the peso that is the currency from Argentina, and BTC, and the peso and the US dollar. More than that, the Secretary of the Treasury of the USA, Mr. Scott Bessent, what did he say several weeks ago? What he is telling all the time. I, as the Secretary of the Treasury of the US, I am buying and selling Argentinian pesos against dollars in the market of Argentina. This is like an external intervention in the free market that does not exist in the Republic of Argentina. So, Milei, his political behavior, his economic behavior is not related to a free market person ideas. He is acting exactly on a different way. If this is a criticism, it's a constructive criticism from my side. So this is the opportunity for Milei to change his policy and to let the free market work freely.
And you yourself have called out Milei and his administration for being full of people who don't understand the topic of Bitcoin, right? So if you could pick a single Bitcoin policy that Milei should implement tomorrow to change that, what would it be? Do you have one in mind?
Only one thing we need. Only one thing. Let the people trade freely BTC, making the settlements within the banking system. And let the banks and the financial institutions in the Republic of Argentina, let the financial institutions in Argentina to offer the possibility of buying and selling BTC and other crypto, making the settlement through the current accounts of the financial system in Argentina. This is my only request to him. This cannot be done out. Do you know how we settle a BTC transaction in Argentina? In cash, in dollars. Because we cannot do that through the banking system. What's better for the country? What's better from an AML point of view? from a know your customer point of view. To do that in cash without any kind of registration or letting the people to settle the transactions through the banking system? The answer is very easy, no?
And yeah. And what I find really interesting right now too is, ordinary Argentines already use Bitcoin to, daily to escape all of the inflation issues that you guys experience there. So it kind of begs the question, like, is the government behind the people right now, or are they just not pretending to notice what we can all see right in front of us?
No, I believe the government, probably the Minister of Economy in Argentina, Mr. Caputo, that is not a free market advocate, probably he thinks that letting the people to trade massively BTC and settling the transactions through the banks would create like a lesser demand for the Argentinian pesos. It will be like giving an opportunity for the normal people to escape from the Argentinian pesos. And that's a signal that he's not even trusting in his own economic policy.
Yeah.
However, as you probably know,
And
the strong condition for a currency like the peso or for any currency in the world is if you are a government official, let the people to trade your own currency freely instead of prohibiting all these kinds of transactions. It is much better. Free market is always better.
yeah. No,
This is the reason.
Last question. Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense, Carlos, and I appreciate you breaking that down for us. And last question for you. You've said that if you were president, you would make Argentina the most Bitcoin-friendly country on earth. Can you walk us through that for a second? What would step one in the Maslaten plan be if you were president?
If I were president of Argentina, I will declare from the first day in an executive order. It is even not needed a law from the Congress to say that. I would declare Argentina is a crypto-friendly country. Companies from all over the world are invited to Argentina to establish their companies located in Argentina. And the most important thing is, as a president, I would give an order to the banks and to all the financial system to let the people, as I told you, to settle the transactions, the crypto transactions through the banking system, instead of not letting the people to do this, in the name of money laundering, anti-money laundering policies. This is even an incorrect interpretation of what AML means. So this is very simple. The only thing we request to the government of Argentina is let the people trade. That's all. We are not requesting any special benefit. We are not requesting money. Just let us trade freely. That's all. My request does not require any kind of government funds. That's all.
I love it,
So
Carlos.
this is
I'll
my
tell you, if you ever decide to run.
So this is my message for President Milei and for all the government of the Republic of Argentina. And that's all, my friend. Thank you very much, Hank.
Well, Carlos, I'll tell you what, you got my vote. Thank you so much for your time and helping us break down what's going on in your home country. It's always a pleasure, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your week, Carlos.
Yes, thank you.
Cheers. Thank you. All right, we're taking a quick break here, but when we come back, it's the moment we've all been waiting for. We have our deep dive session with Mr. 10X himself, Grant Cardone, and he says some stuff you are not going to want to miss. So stay tuned for all that and more right here on the Blockchain Report. Do you wish you could grab cash without selling your Bitcoin? Yeah, same. But hey, that's why Ledden exists. They're the global leader in Bitcoin-backed loans. Over $9 billion worth issued since 2018, with a perfect record protecting client assets. Now, what makes Ledden's loans different? Well, with custody loans, your collateral stays put. They don't go degen and lend it out for yield. There's no credit checks. It funds in under 6 hours, no monthly payments, repay anytime with 0 penalties. And for transparency, grown-ups actually want proof of reserve reports every 6 months, verified by a top accounting firm. The bottom line is Ledn lets Bitcoin holders unlock liquidity without selling. You can check it out at ledn.io/RoxomTV. That's LEDN.io/RoxomTV. All right, welcome back. Now it's time for this morning's deep dive. And today's guest is the man who turned hustle into a luxury brand and made 10x a full-blown religion. He's built more empires than most people have excuses, and now he's stacking Bitcoin on top of all of it. From real estate to social media to taking over the blockchain, he's rewriting the rules of wealth in real time. Let's give a big blockchain report welcome to the show to the unstoppable, the unfiltered, the unapologetic Grant Cardone, everybody. Grant, welcome to the show. How are you? Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah. Hey, great to be with you guys. Love everything that you're doing over there, and thanks for the intro.
Oh, it's a pleasure is all ours, Grant. And we actually had an opportunity to talk not too long ago at the Bitcoin conference in Vegas, and you were blending real estate and Bitcoin into some kind of financial Frankenstein. Tell us, how has that vision evolved since then?
Dude, look, I've been buying real estate for, 40 years, since I was 28 years old. And I've always looked for a way to, how do I make it better? And there's only so many things you can do with it, right? You can better toilets, better swimming pool, better chlorine, better roof, better windows, better location. But at some point, it's still a piece of real estate. It's very, very difficult to move. And move means lift in price, right? Lift in value.
Yeah.
And you're always going to be compared to the neighbor next door, to your brother, your sister. And if you're the prettiest of the bunch, well, then that's cool. But some people don't have that luxury. And so in real estate, you're really compared to your neighbor. And so about 13 years ago, I was introduced to Bitcoin. I was given some in Las Vegas for a speaking gig. They gave me 115 Bitcoin for a gig. They didn't have any money. I said, well, if you don't have any money, I'll take this other thing that you have. I didn't know what it was. And so that was a pretty good payday. It's about $15 million today. I still own the Bitcoin. And that's how I was introduced. And so what we did was January this year, I met with Mike Saylor. And I said, Mike, I want to take my real estate portfolio. We have about $5 billion worth of real estate. I'm not a big guy in this space, but I'm big enough to make some noise there. And I said, I want to add Bitcoin to it. How do I do that? And he's like, well, you need a public entity. You need to be a public company to do what I'm doing. And I said, well, I'm not a public company. He's like, well, that's your fucking problem. Literally, that's what he said to me. He's like, well, that's your effing problem. And I'm like, bro, I came here for help. How do I get a public company? He's like, you go public. It'll take you about a year and a half. And I left there in January and said, I don't want to wait until I go public. So I'm going to start doing this now. We've built 12 in 10 months. In 10 months, we built 12 real estate Bitcoin individual funds. And our goal is to take those 12 deals fully funded and bring them to Wall Street either later this year or the first of next year and go public with it.
Wow, that is ambitious and incredible. Is there what have you learned as you've been down this process so far? Have there been any interesting speed bumps along the way? Things you just weren't anticipating?
No, well, a couple of things. The legal, dude, going public is so difficult. They make this so unbelievably difficult. It's mind-boggling and very, very expensive. That has to be fixed. But what I've learned is when we did our first deal, we did an $85 million piece of real estate. I bought it for 72. I stole the real estate, and we took the difference between what I paid and what it was worth, and we added Bitcoin. And so we brought it to our audience. I funded the entire thing, brought it to our audience and said, hey, would you guys like to invest with this? And we didn't know if it was going to work or not, frankly. I mean, I'm like, I bought it. I like the idea of something illiquid and something very liquid, something very stable, something volatile. The marketplace freaking ate it up, dude. We raised money 3 times faster than we've ever raised it. We raised money from, what do you think? You think the investors were older or younger?
I got to imagine younger.
Everybody answers younger.
Bitcoin?
Everybody answers younger. It was older, check sizes were bigger, and the fundraising was faster. And the crazy thing is 80% of the people that funded the project own no Bitcoin.
Wow.
Older, bigger
How did you
checks,
come up with
and
that?
they had, say again?
How do you even come up with that idea to say, we're going to take this traditional asset that a lot of people trust, but then we're going to infuse more upside in with Bitcoin? Like, how did this come about initially?
Well, what happened was I was in a room on Spaces about 3 years ago, and I was asked to be on a debate panel where we were talking about what's better, real estate, Bitcoin, or stock. And, you know, I no offense, I was probably the loser in the debate because I was defending my real estate. At least from the audience, I think, thought I was the loser. But I walked away from that saying, hey, why have one of them if you could have all three of them? Why not put all three together and not argue? It's like, who's better, Superman or Batman or Wonder Woman? Fucking put them all on one team and call them the Avengers, bro. So we basically have, it's, you know, and I got another reason to go to the movie now. I'm not going to go see another Superman movie. But put them all three together, you know, throw a little sex in there and freaking a little tension. And I'm like, bang, I want to go see that movie, right? Well, that's the same thing with investing. Real estate is a very boring investment, but it's very stable. And when you add Bitcoin on top of it, like our current deal's 230 million, and we added 100 million of Bitcoin. The first deal we did was 85-15. This deal is 1/2 real estate and 1/2 Bitcoin. It's a monster deal. It's the largest real estate Bitcoin deal ever done. And we're probably 2 weeks from wrapping that deal up. But how did I come up with it? Because I'm putting together a yin and yang. I'm putting together two super investments. One's very stable and very ancient, 2,000 years old. You don't need to explain it. Real estate, everybody understands what that was, but this many people on the planet understand Bitcoin. I mean, and even fewer really understand it. Like, I don't think I'm one of those people that really understand it. So I blend the two together so I don't have to understand it. I just get to wait for it.
Right. Has anyone ever done this with gold? I mean, like, why not use gold as opposed to Bitcoin? Is just Bitcoin provides more upside, and that's kind of what you're looking for to sex up a traditional real estate deal a little bit?
You know, Peter, what's the gold guy? Peter
Schiff?
Yeah, Peter Schiff. So I was on a space with Peter yesterday, and Peter's like, Grant, you should. I said, Peter, how can I get really rich? And he's like, Grant, you're already rich. I said, no, really, really rich. And Peter's like, well, you should add gold to your real estate rather than Bitcoin. I'm like, well, okay, explain, why would I do that? Okay, they're both physical assets. They don't have the yin yang. I want something physical and something intangible. I don't want more physicality. I already have a problem with storing the real estate. And where do I keep the gold? Where do I store the gold? How do I authenticate the gold? How do I know that there's not going to be more gold built? Like they say there's a shortage of housing, maybe, until somebody builds more housing. There's no limitation on how much housing. Now, there's a limitation on my location. If my location's superior, that's cool. But look, I've never bought gold. I'm 67 years old. I've never bought gold. I've never had anybody offer me gold. I've never traded gold. Like, nobody's ever come to me and said, will you take gold for your products or services? Peter was sitting there saying, you should have, you know, people in the future are going to pay gold for their leases. I said, no, they're not, bro. Like, how do I take gold for a lease? It's insane, but I could take Bitcoin because it can be fractionalized down to $1,108.57, right? You just can't do that with gold. Right. So that's why I would say don't do it with gold.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. And you're on record as kind of telling people, don't be stupid, don't sell Bitcoin for gold. So it begs the question, Grant, from your seat, are you seeing that transition take place? Are people becoming a lot more open to having Bitcoin as an investment or an alternative investment to gold than we'd seen in years prior? Like, what is that looking like to you right now?
Well, I think the biggest problem with the Bitcoin community is you guys are trying to educate people on Bitcoin. I'm not saying you, but the Bitcoin community is trying to educate people on coins. You're talking to people who don't understand what you're talking about. It's like you're talking to me about the internet. Okay. You remember that guy there was a TV show where they said, what is the internet? And nobody could explain what it was. That's where we're at. You're trying to explain. Look, if I have to read the white paper, or if I have to read the Bitcoin standard, if I need to do 100 hours, most people are not going to do 100 hours of research in order to make an investment. And so what we're doing, 99% of population understands what real estate is. They understand that it has great tax write-offs in America. It has cash flow. It's very, very hard to displace. It's extremely stable. People live there. I don't need to explain to people at this address, people live in that property. Now, when you go to Bitcoin, I got to explain what it is. What is the blockchain?
Right.
What is Bitcoin? What is crypto? What are coins? How is it held? Who holds it? Like, there's all these explanations. But when I take the two, like when somebody invests with us in this Boca deal that we're doing right now, this Boca Bitcoin deal that's 330 million, we spend this much time talking about the Bitcoin and that much time talking about the real estate. You're buying the real estate and you get some Bitcoin. And then every month, rather than distributing cash flow, we buy more Bitcoin. The Bitcoin's a lottery ticket. It's a hope note. It's if we get lucky and it goes to the moon, guess what? Our real estate bought our Bitcoin. So that's what we're doing. We're basically, I think that I'll end up onboarding more people in Bitcoin in the next 13 months than have been onboarded in 13 years.
Yeah, I think you might be right. The easiest way to get people to wrap their heads around what this is to show how it's used in practice. And you're orange pilling the world right now with this amazing new financial Frankenstein that we're just so excited about. And it's a big idea, and you are certainly no stranger to big ideas. So I kind of want to shift topics a little bit here, Grant, because something I wanted to talk about with you was you recently posted about China's new mega bridge that they're building. So it kind of begs the question, like, when do you think America is going to get back to building bold things like that again? Like, what's it going to take for this country to get its 10x swagger back? Because I feel like we're losing it a little bit.
Bro, we haven't lost it a little bit. We've lost it a lot. We've gone from building the greatest infrastructure. We hadn't built shit in this country in years. Nothing. You see China build the tallest bridge in the world. They did that in what? How many months did they do that in?
Not very much time at all. They're building.
It was crazy.
They sent 1,500 workers out there, and they built stuff overnight. It's crazy. Yeah.
They look at Dubai. Look at the Middle East. They're building. We're not building anything in this country. We're too busy figuring out how to fund somebody's dick surgery. You know, hey, build a bridge, man. Let's build infrastructure. Let's have taxes rather than funding other countries. Rebuild. They're going to rebuild Gaza. You know that's going to cost Americans money. Then they're going to go rebuild Ukraine. What about rebuilding this country, our infrastructure, our highways and bridges? Let's build some cool shit. You go to New York City, man, it looks like an old ancient city. They can't even pick up their trash there. So it's disgusting what's happened to this country. And that's why when you see that, you're like, wait a minute, we should have the newest of everything. And it's just a lack of commitment from our leadership. We're so divided in this country. So many people making excuses for why they don't have what they could have. And you open this with I have more successes than I have excuses. That's exactly right, dude. Like, I have no excuses, none, and nobody else does. If you're a white male, and you live in America, there is zero excuse. But if you're anyone, any color, any sex, and you got heart and you got compassion, you got grit, you can be successful in this country. I don't care where you come from. I came from nothing, man.
Yeah. No, I think this is still, I'd like to think, a country where anybody can pick themselves up by their bootstraps and make something of themselves if they're willing to put in the time and effort. And you're right. I mean, we're kind of running out of excuses for the country, let alone ourselves at this point. And let's say you had the ear of the prez right now. Grant, what would be something you would tell him that you think he should do in order to truly make America great again and bring back the swagger of days of yesteryear? Is it rebuilding the infrastructure? Is it maybe something else?
He wouldn't be the guy I would talk to. I wouldn't worry about Trump. Trump's already got the swag. He's got the 10X think. He's wanting to do exactly what I'm talking about right now. Now, if I was in New York City and I was talking to the mayor of New York City, which, you got a communist over there running right now, I would tell whoever's running in New York City or the people that are trying to run for governor in California, you guys got to quit pussyfooting around and just tell people the truth. Look, if you want $30 an hour, you will lose in this country. If $30 an hour, which is what Madami is promising the people in New York, $30 an hour and free bus rides. If you settle for $30 an hour, okay, you deserve to be abused. If you think $30 an hour is going to solve your problems and a free bus pass is going to solve your problems, you deserve every problem you have. If I was running for mayor of New York City, I would tell the people this. We have the greatest city, 8 million strong, the greatest city on planet Earth, the city that never sleeps, the city where if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. But the moment our government gives you a pass, a handout, we break your will. Okay, we make you a prisoner and a slave. And so if somebody would get over there and just say, look, man, the government cannot fix your problems. You got dreams. You want to do great things. We cannot buy those for you. Okay, the $30, the free weed, the free bus pass, the free this, the free that, it's bullshit. The government cannot fix the people's problem. And if a politician would get in there and say, we have a great city, let's get back to being great again, but that requires 8 million people to get their hustle on, not their free pass on.
Yeah, I think you might be onto something there, Grant. And there's a reason that so many people come to you for, business and life advice, which kind of brings us to our next segment here. You and I are going to play a fun little game that we created just for you on the show here, Grant. So let me give you the rules here. It is called Cardone or Cardone. All right, I'm going to throw out some real life money moves, business plays, crypto decisions, things people argue about all the time online. And you tell us if it's a Cardone or a Cardone, and then give us a quick reason why. Sound good?
Dude, I love it. Who came up with this? Did you come up with this, or did one of your writers come up with this?
It's always a team effort here at the Blockchain Report.
Okay, that was very political. That was some political bullshit right there.
Yeah, I know, it's a little diplomatic, but that's the world we live in. So, all right, Grant, so here we go. Let's roll the stinger, guys, for Cardone here really quick. We got it? There it is.
Dude, this is great. Dude.
All right, time.
I need that.
We'll give it to you after the show, no problem. Happy to lend it over to you. So, first one, Grant. Cardone or Cardone, buying Bitcoin right now, even as we're only about 15 grand away from all-time highs. Cardone or Cardone? What do you think?
Cardone.
Cardone. Why?
Just because I think you'll have some other opportunities. I've had a bid in for 108 for probably 6 weeks, and it hit it Friday, and I bought a bunch of it Friday. So, I wouldn't knee jerk. I would wait if you could. Cardone.
Okay. Cardone, we got it. All right, next one. Here we go, Grant. Cardone or Cardone, putting your entire savings into crypto instead of real estate.
Well, that's not a Cardone or Cardone. That's an option.
That's an option. Okay, well, would you do it? What do you think?
Well, crypto rather than real estate? Cardone. Yeah, no, another Cardone.
Cardone. Just too much risk, you think? That's why you need that hybrid model that you're pioneering?
Yeah, dude, I love the hybrid. You get the best of both worlds. Why have one thing when you can have both? Have your cake and your pie and eat them both. I was dating a chick once, and she's like, I said, look, I want to date you, but I need to date other people. And she's like, you want your cake and you want to eat it too. I said, that's what cake is for.
Oh, man, I might have to borrow that one. That's a good line. I usually get met with a lot less receptive things when I propose that, but that's okay. All right, moving on, Grant. Cardone. Oh, go ahead.
You need choices.
Yeah, choices, baby. That's what America's all about. All right, next one. Cardone or Cardone, buying a house right now with interest rates still through the roof.
Cardone, bro. Goddamn, we hadn't had a Cardone yet, dude. Definitely Cardone. Don't buy a house, period, ever under any interest rate situation.
Perfect. Love it. Moving on. Cardo or Cardone, using other people's money to start your first business.
Yeah, that's another Cardone, bro. I don't think I would do that. I don't. Now, if it was your third or fourth business and you knew it was going to work and you knew how to manage money, look, managing other people's money is that is a very risky thing for the manager to do. Like you better know how to manage your own money before you manage somebody else's.
Okay, next one. Cardo or Cardone, leave your job to start a brand new business, but you have 6 months of savings.
God dang, dude. I mean, I wouldn't start my own company. I would go buy a business. So that's a half Cardo, half Cardone. I would not go start a new company. I would go buy an existing business for no money. I would go buy a current business and get paid to buy that business.
So tell me, how would that work really quick in practice for those wondering out there? Because this is a question people have.
Yeah, I would come to you. Your business is for sale, or you've been in that business for 20 years. Sales have been flat for the last 5 or 6 years. You're done. You're worn out. I would basically say, look, I'll pay you X dollars. What do you want for it? But I would pay out of the earned revenue of the company going forward, and not really pay any money. I would get paid to do that deal. And there's 32 million small businesses in America. A third of them are for sale right now. People are tired. They're worn out, bro. They don't know how to market. They're not going to be able to compete against AI. They can't change with the times. They can't even keep up with social media.
Yeah, I mean, we're experiencing like the greatest wealth transfer in history right now. All these boomer businesses are looking to change hands, so unprecedented times for sure. All right, 2 more. Grant, Cardo or Cardone, paying extra for front row seats at a motivational conference?
100%, dude. Cardo. Always get the best seats in the house.
Why is it better?
It doesn't matter whether it's a church, a baseball game. Buy the best seats in the house, bro, because everybody's going to wonder, who's that dude?
God,
be in the best seats in the house. Do not take second best seats. Take the best seats in the house. You'll never regret it.
Love it. Cardo, the good seats. All right, last one. Here we go, Grant. Cardo or Cardone, posting motivational videos of yourself every morning before 7 a.m. What do you think?
Well, you know, I would highly recommend you don't do that.
I feel like there's a lot of gurus out there that are telling us to.
The reason I would recommend you not do that is because most people can't do that every day.
Yeah, that's true. It takes a lot of self-discipline, but maybe that is kind of do what other people can't, right? There's something to be said for that, maybe, but
it's just, you know, if you promise the world to do something every day and then don't do it, which most people won't be able to do it, it's very difficult. You know, I've had a lot of people rag on me, you know, bro, you're doing something every day. I'm like, yeah. And, like very, very difficult to do something every day. Discipline is the greatest vitamin in the world.
Yeah, well put. All right, one more, because I wanted to ask you this last one. Cardo or Cardone, listening to financial advice from anyone who isn't richer than you?
Oh, definitely a Cardone.
Cardone, yeah. Yeah, I think we're both on the same track with that one. You know, but sometimes people have good ideas. You know, you never know who like the next, you know, Zuckerberg or Altman would be, but those are rare cases. So I think you're probably right on the Cardone. So that makes a lot of sense. All right, we're going to stop this game and move on here, Grant. So I want to talk a little bit more about your most recent endeavor. I mean, you're literally turning rent checks into Bitcoin. We chatted about it earlier a little bit previously. Now, that kind of might be the most like 2025 version of passive income I've heard just yet. And for someone who's not running a $1 billion real estate fund, how could the average person maybe start doing a smaller version of that? Do you see that as being possible even?
Yeah, no, I don't see it as impossible. You would buy a smaller version of what we're buying. It wouldn't be a $300 million deal. It would be maybe a $30 million or a $3 million deal. It's the same math. Okay. And let's say it was a $3 million deal. It was an apartment complex in Indianapolis, and it's $150,000 a door, bought you 20 units. You would put 20% down, maybe 25% down on that purchase. And on top of the 3 million, you would just add a little bit of Bitcoin to the purchase. So rather than the $3 million paying 6%, it would pay out 4 or 3 because you stack some Bitcoin on top of it. So rather than earning, see, basically what I'm doing with the real estate is I'm taking a fiat creating machine and I'm converting the real estate is a fiat machine. It collects fiat. And I take that fiat and I convert it to Bitcoin. And so I end up with a fiat machine, which is all human beings do, by the way. Whoever's ever bought Bitcoin or any altcoin, you converted fiat to something hopefully better. I've been collecting fiat since I was 8 years old. I collect the fiat and I want to convert it to something better, a savings account, an investment. I think converting the fiat to either real estate or Bitcoin, these are both very, very difficult to rebuild. One has an actual use, a proven use to live in it. I can't live in Bitcoin. I have to live someplace. Even if you had all the Bitcoin you wanted, you would still need to convert some of it to live in a place. And and so I think I get the best of both worlds. And somebody can do that with $3 million. Look, there's going to be a world you live in the future where when you get a mortgage on a home, which I don't advise, but if you do it, because you'll probably want to do it, you will do it rather than paying principal mortgage insurance on a portion of that loan to protect the mortgage. They're going to require you to hold, a half a Bitcoin or a quarter of a Bitcoin or a tenth of a Bitcoin in order to ensure that mortgage is paid off in the future.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. And Grant, when you initially told me back when I saw you in Vegas about your recent endeavor of fusing Bitcoin and real estate, I was initially a little surprised because I've seen in the past you've always kind of preached cash flow over everything, but Bitcoin doesn't really cash flow. It just sits there and kind of accrues value over time. So, are there other ways you think other than what you're doing right now that other things investors should be doing to make money every month? While also, having this upside that Bitcoin provides? Because it seems is that kind of what sold you in this idea? Like, normally it seems like Bitcoin wouldn't be necessarily something you'd be interested in, but because you used it with a cash flow producing asset, is that how it makes sense to you?
Yeah, if you need passive income, if you need income to live, this investment is not the right one for you. But for some people are like, I have enough cash flow. Cash flow is not my problem. I have cash, I make investments, I want to get rid of money, okay? Like I'm trying to get rid of money. Some people actually have the problem of too much money, this dying. 80% of all women's savings is in cash accounts. It's ridiculous. It's a complete waste of money. You have hundreds of trillions of dollars sitting in cash accounts, money accounts. You have $38 trillion sitting in a bunch of IRA and 401k accounts. Most people don't even know where the money's at. Some of that's sitting in money markets that's earning 2 or 3%. You're losing money on those accounts. So for me, I have more cash flow than I need today. The first target in creating wealth is, one, I want to earn income. Second thing is I want to take the income and I want to go convert it to something better. I don't want money. I don't have any money in my pockets today. If I have money, I spend it. So I don't really want money. So I get money and I go, boom, I go invest the money in the beginning to create wealth. You want money to convert to assets, not convert to a living standard. I don't want my earned income to buy a new shirt. I want my earned income to become an asset and take the old t-shirt I was in yesterday and go earn more money. But what happens is most people earn money and improve their quality of life. You shouldn't do that first. You should earn money, improve the quality of your assets, and the assets would start dripping you cash flow that would improve the quality of your life. The quality of my life is improved. I don't need more passive income. That's how I improve the quality of my life, through passive income. If I want to watch, new shoes, take care of my kids, buy a new house, buy a plane, I have to do it out of passive income. But at some point, bro, you get the plane, you get the house, you get the shoes, you get all the shit you want. Then you end up with more cash flow and you're like, what am I going to do with that? And I'm converting that to Bitcoin. Look, if I'd have been doing that for the last 8 years rather than converting cash to cash, I would be worth about $38 billion today rather than the palsy 1 or 2 bricks that I have.
Paul, yeah, I love that. I would take that. That sounds pretty good, though. And, something else I wanted to chat about with you, Grant, because it's kind of been the talk of the town for the last couple of years now, is AI, right? And you've built your career on sales and leadership and people, but now it's seemingly AI is showing up to every business meeting like it's the new intern. So my question for you is, where do you think humans still have the advantage, and where should business owners actually lean into all this AI tech we're seeing developed every day?
Well, I think the AI thing is overblown personally. And, Facebook started this when they had some issues, some press issues about 4 years, 5 years ago. They changed their name to Meta. We're a long way from the metaverse.
Right.
Okay. I can still ask my phone questions. It cannot come up with the answers. I can ask AI to tell me what the rents are in Texas. It can't come up with the answers. Like, we're a long way from this AI metaverse. I asked for weather. I still can't get a report on weather. Look, replacing me, the individual human being with creativity, replacing whatever my mind is able to conceive and dream of and then go out and create. AI didn't create this real estate Bitcoin hybrid fund that I created. I did. AI did not suggest that I combine real estate and Bitcoin. I came up with that idea from watching and looking for opportunities. So the AI, if you never ask AI a question, it ain't going to do shit. So who's asking the AI the question? So will it one day? Will AI ask its own questions one day? And maybe, but until it figures out how to do that, dude, I'm driving this machinery. If I can dream about it, I can do it. If I can see it, if I can look for it, I'll see it. And I would just tell people, man, don't worry about AI. Worry about becoming the best version of yourself. And there's going to be, I think we end up with a big AI bust like we had an internet bust back in 2000.
Yeah, I agree. It's kind of starting to feel a little frothy at the top, and it's where anybody who puts AI in their .ai in their website name is getting funding or something right now. So I feel like this bubble's going to pop a little bit, but we'll see how it plays out. All right, Grant, so what we're going to do now is, as a man who's just always seemingly a step ahead or is seeing where the world is moving and providing, answers for that world, I wanted to play another little quick game with you here. A big part of, I think, as you mentioned earlier, people wrapping their heads around Bitcoin is they don't really know where to begin. There's a lot to learn and they're confused. And a big part of that, I think, is something, you probably are familiar with called unit bias, right? And people don't know how to view the world in Bitcoin. How much do things cost in Bitcoin? It seems kind of like a foreign thing to a lot of us right now. So what I developed here at the show is we developed a new game called The Price is Satoshi. Okay, this is the only game where you and I are going to try and prove who's worse at converting dollars to Bitcoin for everyday items, okay? So we'll be guessing the price of items in Satoshis and then see how we do. So we'll display a few items and let's get to it. So let's go to our first item here, guys. Closest guess wins bragging rights. Loser has to admit they still think in dollars like a fiat clown. All right, so let's bring up the first one here, guys, and let's bring me to camera 3 maybe, if we could, please. All right, here we go. So, Grant, we have some dish soap here. What would you think dish soap would be in Satoshis? Remember, there's 100 million Satoshis in one Bitcoin.
There's what? How many?
50 million. Okay.
50.
So there's
50
100 million Satoshi.
100 million.
It's 100 million
in
in
one
Bitcoin.
Bitcoin.
Yeah.
100 million, right?
So, correct.
So I'd say
so how
6
many
million.
Satoshis
6 million.
do we think that'll be?
I think that's 6 million.
6?
Yeah.
Okay, so the price of the dish soap, let's go to the next slide, guys, is $1.49, which equals 0.0001296 Bitcoin, or about 1,300 sats. So we got kind of a baseline now. Yeah.
But what kind of soap do you buy, bro?
I don't know. I just picked the most basic dishwasher soap. I don't know. It's whatever the Amazon.
Yeah, I haven't bought dish soap in a long time. Dish soap.
We're going to get some items that I think you're going to have a better idea of the price here as we go along. So let's bring up our next one here, gang. Our next here, we have a toaster, a simple household toaster. What do you think that costs in sats, Grant?
I think that's going to be like 3,000 Satoshi then.
3,000 Satoshi. Okay, so the price of a toaster, we have it at $40. It might be an expensive toaster. I don't know. They're saying it's about just under 35. Yeah, 3,500 sats. Okay. Now we're going to get into your ballpark here a little bit, all right? So our next item here, we have a full set of Titleist golf clubs, all the irons, the woods. What do you think these would be priced in Satoshis?
I think that would be Titleist clubs would be, that's going to be about $3,000, I guess. So it's going to be about 240,000, 260,000 Satoshis.
All right, let's bring it up here. You were pretty close on the price. I have these at about 2,500, which equals
$2 million.
little under 20.
What am I doing wrong here, dude?
That's the thing. Nobody thinks about the world like this. This is hard. So this is like one of the big challenges we need for adoption, right? Like, how do we get people to think this way? Moving on. These next ones are fun. Here we go. This next one we have is a 2025 G-Wagon. Grant, what do you think that is going to cost in Satoshis or Bitcoin? You know, like you could do 12.8 Bitcoin.
Well, it's 175,000, so it's going to be 152 million Satoshis.
All right, let's bring it up. You were right on with the conversion. I had this priced at 148. I think it's the base model.
Okay,
yeah, about 120.
Yeah, you didn't get the AMG package though.
I didn't. I skimped. It was all I could afford, Grant. I'm doing my best over here, you know.
Okay.
All right, last one. Here we go. That's right. All right, last one, Grant. Here we go. We have a base model Gulfstream jet. This is the basic model Gulfstream jet. What do you think it's priced?
Well, you know, which one is it? Is it a 200, a 550, a 500, a 600?
It's a 2. I think it's
a 280.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a 280. That's a $20 million ride, brand new. It's 17 billion.
Okay, let's take a look at the numbers here, guys. We have it priced at 25 million, so you weren't far off. Yeah, at about 21, 22 billion Satoshis. So
yeah. Whoever's doing your math, though, dude, whoever's doing your math does a different conversion on every product.
We had it at, I think, at 115 at the one. I should have mentioned that earlier. It was at about the 115 level, so the math might have been off. But either way, I appreciate you humoring us. That I think is like one of the biggest challenges we're facing right now.
Or, bro, you just got a retard doing the math. One of the two.
It's our intern. I'll fire him. I fire him every episode pretty much. All right, Grant, and we're kind of wrapping up our time here with you, but we do want to play one final game that we do with all of our guests. So let me set it up here for you. As you know, this has been a very unique year for Bitcoin. You've been in the space for a long time. 2025 had a lot of interesting narratives. We're seeing institutional adoption, government tailwinds that we've never seen before. So with that in mind, we are getting some crazy price predictions from everybody and their mother out there as to where Bitcoin will be by the end of this year. So my question to you, December 31st, the clock strikes midnight on the year 2025. Where do you see the price of Bitcoin headed at that exact moment? And we actually have a whole leaderboard here, and whoever gets closest, we're going to send a personalized Roxom Patagonia to. So I'm hoping it's to you.
Dude, so I got it.
You can see on our list.
I have to win that, dude. I have to win that. I'm going to say 134.78.
Ooh, 134.78. So you're with me more on the conservative end. Now let me ask you, the most recent drawback that we saw this past Friday, does that have anything to do with it? Was your price target a little higher and now you've had to lower it? Or is this kind of the track you've been on this entire time?
It's kind of the track I've been on, dude.
Just the track you've been on.
By the way, I'm not getting rid of it. Yeah, I'm not getting rid of it. If it hits 175, I'm not getting rid of it. But you know, that's the beauty of the hybrid. The hybrid is I have a real asset that is gonna. We don't trade our real estate. Like when you buy a great piece of real estate, you don't get rid of it. And if you're gonna buy a great asset, if you guys really believe in Bitcoin and what it can do, why would you get rid of some? I haven't sold any. I've never sold a piece.
Yeah. I mean, that's usually a good strategy with Bitcoin. I think when we reached 126, we had a quick moment of time where it was like 99.76% of all Bitcoin holders ever were in the green. So if you hold it for a long enough time, you're always going to be in good shape, at least.
Yeah. What's the lowest number on the board there?
The lowest bid we had was 130 by Christine Lee, and the highest was Knut Svanholm at 443,000.
Oh,
So,
well, that dude's definitely gone.
I mean, yeah, I appreciate his optimism, though. I always tell him, if you're right, I'll be picking you up in my new submarine this year. So
Yeah,
we'll
one
see,
day, I can't wait till he's right.
I know, me too. Let's get back to camera one, guys. We got Grant's guest in here, so we'll put that in the books. All right, Grant. So it's about our time is about up here. But before we let you go, you have all these amazing new products, specifically within the real estate and Bitcoin space. And I'm sure there's a lot of people in our audience that would love to kind of kick the bucket around those and learn more. Is there a good place I can send them where they can get more info on that or whatever you're up to currently?
Yeah, go to cardonecapital.com. You'll see our current deal there. It's a 336 unit property, best in class trophy asset in Boca Raton. Fantastic piece of real estate that you can never build there again. It's $235 million that we bought out of bankruptcy, and we stacked $100 million worth of Bitcoin on top of it. We're going to take that, hopefully by the end of this year or early next year, take it public. So we're going to convert your shares into stock shares and take it public, and you'll be part of the first ever public real estate Bitcoin hybrid treasury.
Amazing. Well, Grant, I got to tell you, it's really amazing watching you and witnessing you making history here in front of us. And hopefully we'll see you sometime in the future to talk about how it's going, because I think the world is waiting and watching for what you and are going to do next. So thank you so much for your time. It's a blast getting to chat with you.
Yeah, you got mad skills, bro. The people don't know how hard it is to do a show like you do. So well done, and just really appreciate you and your audience.
And we appreciate you, Grant. Thank you so much for taking the time, and I hope you 10x the rest of today, my friend. Appreciate you.
I will, man. Thanks.
Cheers. Okay, and we'll be right back after this, guys. Stay tuned. More Blockchain Report coming your way. Oh, hey. Are you interested in effortlessly growing your Bitcoin portfolio? Of course you are. I mean, I sure am. The Bitcoin credit card by Gemini earns you Bitcoin back on every purchase. Use it like any credit card. You can buy lunch, gas, or your weekly groceries, and you'll earn up to 4% back instantly in Bitcoin or one of over 50 other cryptos straight to your account. And that with no annual fee, and right now, you can grab a $200 Bitcoin welcome bonus. It is the easiest way to start building your Bitcoin stack. Just go to Gemini.com to learn more.
Security matters. Zappo Bank, the only way to bank your Bitcoin. Apply now at zappobank.com.
All right, guys, well, that's a wrap for today's episode of the Blockchain Report. I want to give a special thanks and shout out to our two amazing guests today, living legend Carlos Maslatin and Mr. 10X himself, Grant Cardone, for talking shop with us today. It's always great getting to opportunity to chat with leaders in their spaces, so we thank them for their time and expertise today. And we thank you for joining us on another episode of the Blockchain Report. If you haven't already, do me that small little favor and make sure to like, follow, and subscribe to RoxomTV, Hank at RoxomTV, and the Blockchain Report on all platforms that matter. And we'll be back next week at our 10 a.m. Pacific time show, which is only on Mondays, right here on RoxomTV. So until then, enjoy your weekend, stay safe, stay informed, and always make sure to hodl on. See you next week.